Hello guys, I am Zakaria the Ghostwriter. Let's talk about Rambek DLTC road test. I've seen people making mistake of focusing a lot only on the yard test. They forget about the road test. And I often tell people that if you are booking for your yard test to any DLTC in SA, make sure that you go there days or weeks before your test, to avoid surprises, to avoid things that you could easily deal with if you go there and you check the situation, you read the atmosphere, you check the traffic towards that place. Very important. You check how busy the road is. You check how that road is designed so that you will know exactly what you are up against. You check the traffic lights, how many are they? You check how many are working properly. You check the load shedding schedule. You also check the speed hump, including the stop signs. Study the road, study the place, understand what's going on. Even if you have to listen to the traffic every morning, listen to the traffic. You have to, check the traffic so that you will be updated with, the condition of the roads and the accidents, and you will be familiar with the territory. People are making that mistake. Even if you have to download, the app, which will update you with, the traffic at that area that you want to do your yard test, make sure that you do that. Make sure that you do that. Make sure that you go and also check the lines. The paintings on the road. Make sure if they are visible. If they're not visible, check the arrows. Check all the type of stuff, including the road signs, if they are actually visible, so that you will know them. You will know exactly what to do, so that now you won't be confused simply because of sometimes you might find an examiner who doesn't really like you. And we all know how things work sometimes, whereby they can give you certain instructions which they know exactly that you're not supposed to do, to test you mentally, to see if you understand exactly what you're doing. So there are people who are failing simply because of they will be told to do something, whereby the examiner wants to know if you understand the road signs. And if you are not familiar with the territory, if you don't understand, you'll be like, okay, the examiner says I must turn to the left. That means that's how the route is. And you indicate and you turn to the left, and he start asking you, what are you doing? Do you want to kill us? No, you said I must turn to the... What do you mean? You mean if a passenger is sitting next to you, if your mom or your friend or your girlfriend tells you to turn to the left, you are going to turn to the left without even checking the road markings, without even checking the road signs, without even obeying the rules of the road. That means you're not ready. Yeah, but you told me... I know, I told you, you're supposed to know that at this area, I'm not supposed to turn to the left. You proceed straight and you're telling me nicely as an examiner that with all due respect, sir, I heard exactly what you just said. I'm not just disobeying your command. I am actually paying attention to the road sign. I am not allowed to turn to the left. You keep quiet, you continue driving. Obey rules of the road. Obey road signs at all times. At all times. I had to go and get my water because my throat. So, this is a test. And you will be tested. And if you are Tatazela, you will fail. Tatazela meaning if you are panicking, you are going to make mistakes and fail. That's why I'm always saying there is a mental side of the test and there is a physical side of the test. Do the practicing that you're doing at the testing ground so that you can be physically prepared. You will understand what is needed from you. From thereafter, go extra mile, man. Do additional preparation without your instructor, without driving school. Do your own research. Have knowledge about that town. Have knowledge about that small town. Or have knowledge about the roads. Have knowledge about the environment. A driver's license is a teamwork, like I always say. Other people can take you until a certain point. But some of the stuff, it's on you. You have to do them yourself. You are the one who's doing the driving. You are the one who has to know where to turn, where to stop. You are on your own. The examiner is there to make sure that they are watching if you are driving well, if you are safe to have a driver's license and be on the road and drive with other people. But if you're panicking, if you're not safe, it's very risky for them to give you a driver's license. You just have to know that. And I'm going to share the story of the other sister who told me that she has a driver's license, but she has so much fear. She ended up taking my TikTok handle, and she said she will watch most of my videos so that she can deal with fear. But let me continue with what I'm continuing, because I'm going to make part 1 and part 2 of this so that you guys can know why we do what we do. It's on you. Sometimes people are not telling you the truth. You need to know that going to a driving school, learning how to drive, it is not enough. They're only giving you the basics. Downloading the app so that you can learn about learners is just the basics. Just know that you are preparing so that you can pass the test. But there is a real test out here. When you are carrying a driver's license whereby you come across a thief coming all the way from the other side, driving a certain vehicle over the recommended speed, breaking all the rules, not even stopping at the stop sign, not even stopping at the traffic light, indicating to the left, knowing that it's going to turn to the right, you are going to meet all sorts of people. At some places, man, you're going to arrive and find, the guy, while he's still in the car simply because of it was a car chase or it was a shootout. So that's the real test. What do you do when you get to those type of situations? That's when you need to control yourself, control your fear, control your emotions, and do what's best for you and people who are in the car, because of their lives are in your hands. At that moment, nobody can make any decision for you. You have to make a decision as a driver. Just know that. I've seen a lot of people who are driving, but they are listening a lot to a person who is next to them, a passenger. I remember somebody, borrowed me a car, and when we were driving on the freeway from this side to Midrand, and there was so much that, she was saying next to me. And I'm like, you know what? If you want to drive, you can drive. But if I'm the one who's driving here on the freeway, I'm going to obey rules of the roads, and I'm going to drive in a way that I'm comfortable. I'm not going to be told by you that switch lane, don't do this now, do this. Okay, are you looking at the mirror? I can see that vehicle, that it looks like it's a bit far, but I can tell you that that person is speeding, and I'm not going to risk moving lanes to lanes whenever you say move lanes. So when you are driving, it's your responsibility. The person who is a passenger and they feel like they want to drive, park the car on the side and let that person drive. Because of you don't want to make mistakes based on what somebody said. I'm just telling you. The car that I was driving, it wasn't my car. It was the person who was sitting at the passenger seat, his car. So that person felt like they are obligated, or they have more power to tell me what to do with their car because of I only have a driver's license, but I don't have a car. It's their car. Based on, they might say, if anything happens, that person is the one who will be paying for the damages. If there is an accident, that person will be losing their own car. If there is any scratch, they are the ones who will be responsible for fixing that. So that means they have more power to say about how their car is supposed to be driven. And that is the biggest mistakes, whereby many people make that mistakes. It's either you with your mom, it's either you with your partner, it's either with your dad or your friend, or your boss where you're working, or your colleague, whereby they start giving instructions while you are driving. It has to be simple. Listen, I respect you and I understand exactly what you're saying, but I don't want to be confused and end up being in an accident because of what you just said. Sometimes you might not see what I see. And sometimes you might miscalculate the speed of the vehicle coming behind us. And if I do things based on what you are saying, because you might say switch lanes, those few seconds that I take before deciding to switch lanes might be the reason why we might be in the car accident. And you'll be like, if you switch immediately when I told you to switch, we were not supposed to be in the situation. Yeah, but you must remember that you are a person individually and I am a person. When you say something, that doesn't mean like I'm a computer and I'm going to react right away. It's not going to happen that way. It doesn't work that way. So there will always be mistakes. It's either the person will say switch. You switch immediately without checking, your mirrors, and you end up being into trouble. I'm saying these, guys, because I know that we are not all owning cars. Sometimes we're going for the driver's licenses. You are going to drive a family car. You are going to drive your partner's car. You are going to drive your colleague's car, or maybe a company's car. I have known the other gentleman who was working for our company who rushed when they said promotion, and he got a car beyond repair. He was sharing pictures, and I was like saying to him, you know what, I found the picture, from some of our, colleagues, but I decided not to speak about it because of, I've seen how injured you were and stuff like that. And it was like, thank you, man. Thank you for not speaking about that. But it was a horrible, horrible accident which he was involved with the taxi, and he was wrong. They demoted him. And it is what it is, because of most people do things based on what people are saying. Once I'm in your car, man, it's no longer your car. It's my responsibility, because of my life depends on it. So if you want to drive it, you feel free, man, to jump to the driver's seat and do what you want to do. And I also have a right, man. I remember one day I was, I was in this other taxi, the guy is talking over the phone, he's driving recklessly. I said, bro, listen, what you're doing is very wrong. The taxi is full. You are talking, while you're driving, and you are making some, silly mistakes that I can see. No problem. If you see a taxi, you can just stop right there, and I'll catch another taxi. The taxi was all quiet. I'm like, bro, I'm not going to die over $15. I paid you only 15 rand, my guy. My life doesn't worth that 15 rand. So if you feel like what I'm saying is nonsense, you want to drive how you want to drive, no problem. You can drop me off. I'll catch another taxi. I'm not in a hurry. Then the guy started talking to me nicely now. We started communicating, and he drove well. And we both arrived in Johannesburg from Tembisa. So you need to understand that even if when people didn't say a thing, but they knew he was wrong. And once I'm trying to talk to him and he doesn't understand, I'm not even trying to push it. I'm like, no, if that's how you want to drive, that's fine. You can drop me off. I only paid you 15 rand, man. I have another 15 rand. I'll pay for another taxi. Simple. So he knew that it's not about the money that I paid him that makes me want to speak. It's because of I see that he's doing something wrong, and an accident happened in split seconds, just like that. There is no sorry. Once that taxi is turning, you are involved in an accident. We start checking who is alive and who is dead. And it's late by that time. So he understood it, and eventually you know, he started driving right, and we got to where we were going. Even if people cannot say, bruh, kudos, man, for raising that point, for making it happen. You know, but people got relieved because of the guy. He was recklessly driving like he's in a hurry to go to Joburg and come back. You know, I'm going to make another video, and I just want to speak about Randburg DLTC. It's part 1 and part 2. Obviously, you know, I talk too much. Let me make another video.